So, good morning, one and all present here. We are having with us Prateek Chachra, who is an musician and also an engineer, and myself, Shubham Gupta, from Special Wow series, conducting this interview session with him. So, there are some ground rules for this session.
Mhm.
First rule is if you are disconnected from this meeting, you can again reconnect with the same link. Second, if host unmutes you, you can only speak then, as
Mhm.
there are very less audience for that, so that's not an issue. So that's it from the rules. For taking the interview of Prateek Chachra, we have our DTM Richa, who is a distinguished Toastmasters and also a mentor to many people. So over to you, stage ma'am.
Thanks a lot, Shubham, for the awesome welcome and a nice introduction. And I welcome Prateek, who is online with us today. Hi. I am sure that he has been having a very hectic schedule. I can actually see it on his face. It's visible. Okay. From how many nights you have not I mean, have a nice proper sleeping thing routine.
I've actually forgotten like how many nights I actually like what night I actually had a good sleep. Uh,
Okay. Please don't do all this. We want to see you healthy.
yeah.
Okay. So that you can achieve your goals in life. Okay. So today you are going to help a lot of people, and I'm sure you are already an inspiration to a lot of people. So let me ask you the very first question that is in my list. Tell us something about this MacBook Pro. What is this MacBook Pro?
So MacBook Pro is a replacement for Windows for me personally. It's a laptop that's like that has become my favorite for a while now. I never ever tried. I never gave Apple like that much a try. But when I started to do that, I felt like it is just way more relaxing than Windows is. It is just made for professional work. So MacBook Pro for me has become life now. So yeah.
Hmm. I understand because even I use MacBook.
Oh
And
wow.
the moment you start using Apple products, you don't feel like buying
Yeah.
anything else.
Hmm.
I have stopped using Samsung gadgets and Sony gadgets as well. So everywhere in the house, in my office, you'll find all Apple products are there. And I'm sure you are the right person to guide me now.
Ma'am, there's this
Okay,
famous saying, once you go Mac, you never go back.
seriously. Tell us few disadvantages of Android.
Few disadvantages of Android. All right. So one of the disadvantages that Android is kind of like there's just too much power given to you when it comes to when it comes to programming or when it comes to just just handling of the application or the operating system. So if I am creating an application and the application application has some loopholes due to which there can be a lot of like too much processing that's happening. So like the whole phone can crash or the whole phone can be destroyed or the whole OS can be destroyed, and the OS isn't responsible for the same. In iOS, on the other hand, in iOS there are a lot of prerequisites that you need before you submit an application to the Apple Store. The review system is much more defined. They take their time to verify something, and also it's too expensive. Nonetheless, there's a lot of quality there. I'd say this is a huge disadvantage, wherein like Android offers a little too much when it comes to freedom. So a lot of new developers might ruin the experience for many people. So that's one. Secondly, Android, when it comes to tracking the bugs, Android isn't as sophisticated as Apple is. So I have been developing both on Android and iPhone, and Android has just been like way worse when it comes to just detecting where exactly is the issue happening. In iOS, it's pretty clear. The debug point is easy to attach in. So yeah, that's two
Okay.
disadvantages as a
You
developer that
have
I've personally
a
seen.
hectic schedule. How do you manage time to play tennis? How often do you
I
play?
I don't play tennis anymore, uh, thanks to the lockdown. But yeah, like
Oh,
it's been an early morning thing, and also like it also is something that I do on the weekend. So like for instance, my all of my Saturday and Sunday, even though this might sound like I'm boasting, but yeah, I play for like 6-7 hours on a stretch when I'm in the Rohini Sports Complex, and like Saturday and Sunday is completely booked for like lawn tennis only. So like I have made some friends with the rally partners that we've been seeing each other for a while, and we practice on hard court and on clay court. It's one hell of a sport. So yeah, like weekends, I usually find time. Otherwise, like if there are features or if there are things that need to be wrapped up quickly, I simply skip it. So that's the only option left.
that's true. Very true. I have seen you attending a lot of Toastmasters meetings. So please give us 3 tips how to pursue as a humorous speaker.
Humorous speaker. Firstly, like when it comes to humor, like there is this concept of tension and release, I think. So study that, master a lot of different aspects of humor. For instance, like there are certain kinds of jokes that are really popular. Understand why they work. So like just do your research on what humor is and why do people laugh, and how to set the mood. Secondly, I have personally, and you also as a public speaker might agree to me that as someone who is a performer, it's our duty to uh, to like uh, to lead the vibe of the audience. So, for instance, if you are not feeling happy and you are not feeling really good in your own skin, how can you expect other people to follow you along? So be in that mood all the time. Like not all the time, but yeah, once if you're going on stage, like just before that, watch a comedy. These days, stand-up comedy is very common on YouTube. So just watch a video or two and just inculcate the mood in yourself. So like
So we need to channelize
just
ourselves.
feel that vibe.
Is it
Huh?
like we need to channelize ourselves?
Yeah, you need to channelize yourself to that particular vibe of just making everything seem fun and not serious at all. Like when once you're in that vibe, if you must have also noticed, if say that you're really having a rough day, and then all of a sudden you meet your friends who are like who are chugging a beer and memory like discussing nostalgic memories and all of a sudden your mood simply changes, right? You're simply just uh, you're simply just engaging along, making jokes, even though like 5 minutes before all you were thinking about was how bad your day went. So like that is the kind of energy you need to exude. So just find a way to be in that state, be in that vibe, and that makes things 100 times easier if you're trying for a humorous speech. You would be surprised by what things you may come up with. So I also mentioned I do improv. So like one of the key things in improv is we do like warm up games before we start off. So like the whole point of warm up games is to get yourself completely in the moment and completely out of your head.
Okay,
Because
it's
when
like
you're in your head,
on the
when you're over calculating everything.
yes, very true.
I'm sorry,
What
it's
is
like I might have missed the word.
I just
Yeah.
said? Is it like something like you just unlearn and relearn?
It is something that you rediscover. I won't say that you need to unlearn it, because that is an energy that's already in you. If you've been part of a group of relatives or friends, and you've been the funny guy and you're like cracking jokes one after the other, and telling amazing stories, you have it, man. Like everybody has it. It's just about rediscovering it in you. So like people, I find it the biggest bunch of uh, uh, sorry, I was going to say something else, but yeah, I found it really sad when people say that we can't we are not funny, so we can't participate in humorous speech competitions. I'm like, you are, you're just telling yourself the story, but I've seen you being that way. I know you can do it on stage as well. It's just that mental block that you need to go through. So, yeah.
Very true. We all are stronger than we think we are, and we
That's true.
all are genius. We all are talented.
Yeah.
We just need to explore our own self,
Yeah.
isn't it? What is one thing that energizes you? What is your energy booster?
My energy booster is I am a very philosophical person in nature. So like whenever I sometimes go in the deep dark hole wherein it sucks the energy out of me when I ponder about the questions of existence and everything. But then again, real energy, my real source of energy and happiness comes when I try to counter it by actually perceiving life as a gift, and like existence being this very short limit of time that you've been given as a gift. So like I personally am like, let's make the most out of this, because death is like death can come any day. So like it's all about like enjoying the moment and just making the most out of it. So yeah, that makes me the most energetic.
Life is
Like
unpredictable.
it's weird, yeah. It's like a weird motivation, but yeah, I get motivated existentially by reminding myself of death all the time, that
Oh,
it might come any day, so might as well achieve your dreams as soon as
so
possible.
let us give our best, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, how do you define healthy food?
Healthy food is something that is so there is a concept of instant gratification and delayed gratification. So instant gratification is basically like you feel really good and really like pleasured instantly, but like it is harmful for you in the long run. Delayed gratification is something wherein you don't get that reward instantly, but it's actually something, it actually gives you that reward much later, when you realize that it affects a lot of your things like mood and like how you behave and everything. So like for me, healthy food is something that leads to delayed gratification. It doesn't need to be, tasty and oily and everything. Like it can be as well, like healthy food can be really tasty, but then again, I think unprocessed foods is a huge criteria. Like if your food is processed, or if your food is like Maggie and all these Lays and everything, so these are really not good for you. The oil isn't good. The like ingredients aren't good. The procedure of making isn't good. So don't have that. Healthy food for me is homemade. Healthy food for me is unprocessed. Healthy food for me is full of vitamins and minerals and not just carbohydrates.
Yes, yes.
Even
Tell
though
us,
I find myself dwelling in Maggie once in a while, I miss it a lot. Yeah.
okay. Tell us something about the music albums that you have created.
All right. So I recently released an album which is called Regrets and Grievances. It's on Spotify. It has like 11 songs, and so that was like a creative high for me, because I was recently going through a breakup, and I was like, why not put this emotion into music? And there it is. I'm abusing my ex, but with melody. So, yeah. So that was the idea behind the album. Even though I'm not abusing my ex, literally, that was the story. So
11
yeah,
songs. My God, how much
regarding
time
that
you
album, yeah, I actually it just took me a month. I was making songs every single day. These were many of these songs were just simple rough ideas that I always had in my head. So I just needed to translate it into like a full song. So this is one challenge that I always had, that I don't complete stuff throughout. So the first step that I took was create a structure. Like there's an intro, there's a verse, there's a chorus, and there's then another verse, then another chorus. So like getting that structure out is the first step. and then like one by one just deciding like how can things proceed here, because music at the end of the day is a form of storytelling only. It's like an emotional it's like storytelling through emotional expression. So uh, like that's how you take the path where you want the song to go. Like I think again, not boasting, but yeah, I have a songwriting talent, so I did it very quickly in like a month. I created a song every day. So
Wow.
again, I was in a creative high.
Wow, very good. Yeah, even
Yeah.
I'm there on podcast, Anchor,
Oh
Spotify,
wow.
but I don't think I have been able to complete 11 songs. I hardly remember how many I have completed, though it's like shiny syndrome. Every day you tend to explore things and you want to do everything. But actually speaking, you can't stick on everything. You need to choose your subject. You
Yeah.
need to specialize at one thing only. You can't be everywhere and doing everything. Though I tried a level best to serve a platter to the youngsters by recording a lot of prayer songs
Oh wow.
and normal Bollywood songs and whatever masala I could add to the platter.
Right.
what what do you feel success is?
Success is when you feel like you're creating enough impact on the world, and you live up to your own potential, what you think you should have achieved, you should have deserved to get. So once you reach that point, you feel like, yeah, like this is success. So yeah, you define your own success, but then again, don't be delusional about it. Don't make it a make it a mountain too high to climb for you as of now. So yeah, it's all about being honest with yourself, but then again, reaching that place. So yeah,
Okay. How do you define society and culture?
society and culture is a construct that was devised by us for like uh, to like make an order out of the chaos uh, that human existence already is. So like culture is something wherein like we all come together. It has a lot of purpose in our lives, that as families, as a huge tribe that we are, like we all celebrate the good things, we all mourn the bad things, like in a way. So like that way is culture. So that like there are certain values that you imbibe in your kids. There are certain virtues that you imbibe in everyone. Like these things are through culture. I think these days, I don't know for what reason, society and culture kind of is looked down upon a little. People are like, "Oh, we're free to do everything." I'm like, society and culture is the thing that gives you freedom. It's like uh, people are trying too hard to separate themselves from it, because I think individualism as a philosophy of life is on the rise.
You
So
are
I'm completely
actually
against it.
you are actually
Yeah.
very philosophic, and we all need to learn a lot from you.
Oh, thank you.
You have a nice expression to define lot of things. Well, my next list is kind of a rapid fire questions for
All
you.
right.
So we will not give you time to think. You just speak out whatever comes to your heart. Okay. So
Awesome.
in one word, if you are told to define who is Prateek,
Persistent.
life is
Good.
a winner is
Uh, Someone who never loses.
favorite song,
Somewhere only we know I can.
favorite place.
Favorite place, tennis court.
Thanks a lot. You were awesome as
Thank you so
always.
much.
I have seen you doing a lot of things on the stage, and I appreciate the activities that you conducted in DTU that day.
Oh,
Well,
thank you.
now I'll leave it to Shubham. Shubham, please ask.
Shubham,
Hello.
buddy, you there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shubham,
Hello. Yes, sir. Yeah, I like see your like Facebook profile, and in that
Yep.
profile I saw that you were living in Russia, St. Petersburg.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can you like tell me the difference of culture in Russian mindset and Indian mindset?
So Russian mindset is quite interesting. They are quite Russians are quite hedonistic in nature. They are since they have been through a lot historically. Like if you were to look at the history after the 1800s, it just all went south. They were the first ones to suffer from the hit of communism that the whole world saw. So like Russians actually value trust a lot in their culture. So like if you were to talk to a Russian, they'll test your trust a lot. So that's one thing. And secondly, like Russians don't believe in smiling too much. So like if you this is a very contrast in culture between like Russians and the rest of the world. So if you were to look at the rest of the world and uh, how the strangers greet each other. So like they'll like smile and they'll just say good morning and all. This is like a American and European thing. Indians don't do that at all. Indians are too silent for their own good. But in Russia, what happens is if you're doing that on the street, people will think that you're stupid because in Russia, like smile is treated as a very reserved thing. Like it is something that you let out only during the special occasions, and if you smile all the time, you are considered.
Thank you, sir. One last question. Like, I'm a junior
Yeah.
toastmaster. So a
Yeah.
guidance for me, like to build a humor as humor speech contest will be coming. The
Okay.
guidance for me to build that humorous speech to be better. Like I have prepared that, but to be better speech.
Humorous speech, if you were to make it better, I think you should do test runs of it. You should this is one way that people actually. I'll let you in on a secret now. I've been a part of the like stand-up comedy scene. So what happens is that how people test out their jokes. The videos that you see take like 1 2 years to freshen up. But what they do is they go to various open mics and they bomb. None of their jokes work, and they just note it down like this one did not work at all, this one did not work at all, this one had a mild laugh, I can work on this. So like the best way to get a good humorous speech is to actually do test runs, is to actually do open mics. You can send your speech to a friend. You can ask them to record the response during the listening of the speech. Wherever you thought it was funny, but the other person did not, you just have to circle it up. And if there are enough circles on it on test runs, you either need to work on the joke or you need to eliminate it. So yeah, this is how you can really get to that winning speech. So yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. That
Yes,
was it.
yeah.
Shubham this side, and over to you, Richa ma'am.
Thanks a
For
lot,
like
Shubham. Thanks a lot, Prateek. Take
Thank
care
you.
and have a great day. Stay connected.
You
Bye
too,
bye.
ma'am.